Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Okay. Okay, for the get down. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You home? Were you lost? Did you think you were lost? You ain't lost. We done found you. Okay. This is the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. And today, our beautiful, amazing, brilliant, bright guest is Regina G. Mixon. I was just talking to her and asking her, where do you live? And she says she lives in 6 months in California and 6 months down in the Mississippi Gulf Coast, down in Louisiana. So since you are bi-coastal, who's your team? You like them Saints, or you like them Chargers, or them Rams? Who's your football team?
I refuse to answer on the grounds it may incriminate me. I won't say.
I know. I was talking about New Orleans, and my first time there, my husband took me on vacation, and we had to catch a ship on a cruise. And so we said, well, let's spend 3 or 4 days in New Orleans. I had never been there before. It is a hypnotic type of place. It's so much culture. It's so much history. It's so much spirituality on both sides. What do you find that you love about New Orleans? And well, not necessarily New Orleans, but Louisiana.
Okay. Yes, the culture. Now, I must admit, with New Orleans, I have not been a lot there. I have only actually in my lifetime gone once. And I had a pretty rough experience, which led me to say that I wouldn't go back again. But overall, I have to retract my statement that I previously made. I will go back. I mean, there was so much about New Orleans that I loved. But for Louisiana, for Northwest Louisiana, I like the fact, pretty much, I love the fact that number one, I have a lot of family here, a lot of family members, and family is so important to me. And also the fact that when I need to rest, to really get some rest, I find that California is a much faster pace.
Girl, the hustle and the bustle.
Yes.
And the traffic.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Make you want to shoot yourself in the big toe. I'm originally from LA. But when I went to New Orleans, it was different. When I got off the plane, it was okay. But then I got there and I went down Bourbon Street and I saw all of the different shops and all of the artistry and the music and the food and the culture. It just transported me. And then we went on a tour of all of we saw the cemeteries that were above ground. I had never seen that before. We saw a lot of the plantations, and I couldn't understand some of the English. My husband could get it because their tongues are very thick.
Okay.
But it's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place, but I just hate that they get hit with these storms. So you are a storm as well. Brains, let me tell you about Regina G. Mixon. She is the owner, CEO, and founder of Regina Mixon Enterprises. That's a big conglomerate, Brains. We talk enterprise, okay? She is the founder and director of God's Storehouse Ministries. And she also has a publishing company. She has written 9 books herself, and she has also published books for others. So we're about to get into it, okay? On many levels. This is going to be great. I love to have inspirational women of God. Whatever your God is, whoever your God is, we're not judging because he done come to us all differently. Just as long as you know that there is somebody superior to oneself. So let's welcome her to the edge right there, Regina G. Mixon.
All right.
So what is going on?
Well, I have several different things going on, as you just mentioned. And first and foremost, I want to say it's such a pleasure being here with you today and sharing this platform with you. I'm truly honored and
Oh,
grateful to have you to for your having me here. I'd like to say that first and
thank
foremost.
you.
But what's going on? There's a lot going on in the life of Regina Mixon. There is a lot going on. First, I want to say that I prematurely started God's Storehouse Ministries back in 2000, approximately 2000 in Louisiana. Prematurely, I say that because God had given me the vision for it and I took off running with it,
Mm.
not being fully prepared to do it, but I did nonetheless. And then I the ministry was dissolved and I went to California, moved to California. And again, I prematurely thought that I was ready, I was prepared to go ahead and do that, that God, the vision that He had given me, the visions and dreams, only to realize I had a lot more to learn. So this time around, we are relaunching both God's Storehouse Ministries and Regina Mixon Enterprises effective 2022. And this time around, I believe I've gotten it. I've finally God has provided me with the connections. He's given me the wisdom. He's allowed me to go through so many different things to the point to where I can't look back.
Right.
So I just keep moving forward. And I'm just excited. I'm very, very, very excited.
I'm excited for you. But let's talk a little bit about before we get into your actual business, God's vision. Because sometimes we looking at things with rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, God plants the seed. He don't want to just plant the seed. He wants us to cultivate the soil. He wants us to water it. He wants us to lay in the sunshine. He wants us to grow. But also we got to pick some of them weeds.
Come on. Woo! You said a mouthful.
And a lot of times, we go through this and we think, oh my God, it's like I've created a vision board and there's not going to be any obstacles. There's not going to be any challenges. This is just, straight ahead. But you learn the value in the valley.
Yes. Yes, it's in the valley I grew. It's in the valley I learned. It's in the valley. Yes, we learned so much in the valley.
What are some of the challenges? What are some of the things that you learned in your valley?
Oh my God, we don't have enough time to go. One thing that I learned in my valley is because of the fact that God had given me the vision, and because it was about not only being blessed myself and helping myself, but helping so many others, I went ahead and I blabbed it to everyone. Like Joseph, like I often say, like Joseph, I blabbed it and I said, God said, God showed this, that, and another. And I expected people to be excited but the excitement didn't come. They just thought I had lost my mind. But yeah, so one of the lessons that I learned was when in fact God is speaking to us directly, when He's whispering in our ears or in my ears different things or showing me different dreams and visions, I just need to shut up and tell people on a need to know basis, and only those that need to know.
Baby, please. I can't tell you. Because the haters come up out the ground.
Oh, my Lord. And one thing that I was accused of having delusions of grandeur, and I thought, all I'm doing is trying to go about and do this that God has given me, the visions and dreams that He's given me. Truth be told, now, I'll tell you the truth and shame the devil, shame the enemy. Truth be told, I didn't want to go through a lot of the things that I've gone through over the past 20 years. I didn't. I said, God, you know what? You can take this vision away from me, like remove this bitter cup from me, because I was ostracized, I was isolated, I was lied on, like Vicky Winer said, lied on, cheated, talked about, and mistreated. And all the while, I was going about trying to help as many people as I could. But then I reminded myself of the fact that even Jesus went about doing good, and still he was persecuted, and all these things happened. So I guess it's par for the course. And I'll say one other thing on that. As I read stories of many successful people, as I began to read and dig deep into their lifestyles and all of that, I realized that many visionaries, many people went through the same process.
Of course.
Went through
And
the
they say
same.
it's lonely at the top,
Oh God.
but that's like me. I know when to hold and I know when to fold.
I
I
know
don't
now.
I don't discuss a lot of things. People always they want to piggyback, you
Mhm.
know. But what's for me, baby, ain't for you.
Right.
You can't do what I do. I can't do what Regina do. And when
Right.
people realize that they need to stay in their own lane, it won't be a traffic jam.
Mhm.
They always think
Exactly.
that the grass is greener on the other side, but you don't know how I've had to mow, I've had to water, I've had to, do all of these other things.
Preach.
Uh,
Okay.
they just don't get it. They don't get it. So what is some of the joys that you've received? Because I know that there's many, and people don't like that either. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you.
Right.
They don't want you to have no money.
Right.
They
Right.
don't. They don't want you to have your name or you be on interviews or any. They don't want that, and I don't know why. Is that jealousy?
Well, I'm sure it is, but the only people that don't want us to do these things are people who are sitting back, I found a lot of times, and not pursuing their purpose, not living their dreams. And yeah, I mean, we can call it hating, but the thing about it is that if God has given you a vision and a dream and you're not working it, then, and I choose to suffer, sacrifice, go through, cry a bucket of tears, at nighttime, and work and work and work because I believe, then what you think or your opinion, and it took me a long time to get to that point. I don't care. I seriously don't. I'm not being conceited. I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being any of that. But once we have paid the price, we have gone through and we have paid the price. I don't know your story.
Right.
I don't know your struggles, but I know you have a story. You know what I'm saying? You didn't go from just one point to where you are now. You didn't go from point A to Z without going through all the rest of the alphabet. You went through, you endured, you had to. And especially, I want to say this, especially as African American women, we have to fight. I think about Miss Steele in The Color Purple. All my life I had to fight.
All my life.
All my life I had to
Oh,
we've had to fight, and it's not been easy. So to the people, I tell people, don't hate, participate, collaborate, partner with people. And my thing is about uplifting and encouraging people. There are enough people in this world that say what you cannot do. We cannot do this because of this. I went through a bad childhood, or I got pregnant as a teenager, or I dropped out of high school, or I went through an abusive relationship, or I went, all the reasons many people tell people all the reasons why they can't do things. And it's like, uh, if you're not in a certain class or in a certain category, your uprising was not what others that people deemed to be successful, then people sort of look down on you. Well, I don't do that. I'm here to serve the underserved community. I'm here to let people know you have a voice, you have gifts, you have talent, you have the power to change your life. And one of my favorite quotes is, to thine own self be true. When you come to realize who you are, and granted, it took me a long time to get to that point. But when a person comes to realize who they are and believe in themselves, believe in God, believe in themselves, and believe that if he gave a vision, he gave a dream, he's going to bring it to pass, but we have a part to play in it. He's not going to force it on us. We have a part. So I am one who will encourage, uplift, assist in every way I know how. But one thing about it is that I've come to realize is you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink, because I wanted things so badly for other people that they said with their mouth they wanted, but their action showed otherwise.
Well, absolutely. And again, that's what I do. I go by people's actions. All that jaw jacking and self pontificating and posturing. I don't care nothing about that. I hear right through that. Okay. Right. And people's insecurities. We all have insecurities. We all have doubts. We have to challenge those things because the devil is real. You see Corona, don't you?
Yes, yes.
And
but so Corona is a wake-up call too. Corona is a wake-up call because
it was the perfect pause. Pause. God said, look, all y'all's in timeout. I don't care how cute you are. I don't care where you live, what you drive, and how much money you have, how fine your clothes are. You're going to sit your butt down and pay attention. And right. What you don't understand, brains, that it ain't over. It ain't over until it's over. So what are you doing right now as you are in the process of this rebranding? And I want to hear about what you're doing that. And really, what is the premise of your nonprofit?
Our nonprofit, our mission is to holistically meet the social and spiritual needs of those within the communities we serve, or connect them with resources that can. We are very much about partnerships, establishing partnerships, filling gaps, identifying and filling gaps. And one of the things, having lived through a lot of different things, I was able to, I said, God in his infinite wisdom allowed me to do a lot of research and development by going through and seeing that there were gaps within the communities, within the Northwest Louisiana area, as well as California. So right now we're, as I said, I think I mentioned earlier, we're fully in the process of getting our websites rebuilt, getting all our papers and everything as it relates to both places in order, getting our people in the right positions, the right people in the right positions to go ahead and so that we can move forward in 2022. We have, with God's Storehouse Ministries, we have several programs. We have we've implemented on a lower scale in the past, but we will implement again and prayerfully on a larger scale. But those programs are the Adopt a Family program during the holidays. We have Women Destined to Win International, Children Destined to Win, Men Destined to Win, and the Rebuilding Their Lives programs. Those are our primary programs where people who are, again, targeting the underserved community. And so those are our primary programs that we have. With Regina Mixon Enterprises, doing business as REGS Books, among other things, one of the businesses I have, or we have, and I'm going to introduce, this is our, hopefully you can see it.
Okay, so there's a big glare on the.
There's a big glare. You know what? I'm going to take this out. But with that, I, along with a co-author, Evangelist Lavina Williams, we are currently in the process of putting in print and ebook format, How Bad Do You Want It? The book, How Bad Do You Want It? I think, is this better?
That's better, but move it over to your right a little bit, because
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Hold it up a little bit. Yeah, okay, that is beautiful. There you go.
So we are in
get into the books, though. I want to ask you, I want to go back to the nonprofits a little bit.
Okay, all right, great.
I've worked for the world's greatest nonprofits, okay? And nonprofit is a tough, tough road.
Yes, it is.
You're looking for grants, you're looking for sponsorships, you're always having to have fundraisers. You're responsible to the
board of directors.
Wait, an active board.
Active board.
A contributing board. I don't need you to sit there. I need you to write a check.
Thank you. That part right there.
That is what you're there for. You get the prestige and all the accolades, but I can't give you a receipt because you ain't coming with no cash. Or You're not coming with innovative ideas for us to be sustainable. And this is what I like to put out there to nonprofit organizations. It's not always going to be a handout. It used to be once upon a time that nonprofits would get endowments. People would leave you a legacy in their will. You know, you could get a grant, 5,000, 10,000. Now, what you're encouraged to do is become self-sustainable. Get partnerships with other organizations that you can generate money.
Right.
Me personally, just me personally, I was not one to get a nonprofit. I have always been for profit, but a minority owned business. Pay my taxes and be done. Right. Because the IRS goes up your rectum like a colonic, baby. You best believe that.
Oh, I know.
If the paperwork is not right, you're responsible to the donors, you're responsible to the clients. People looking at you with a side eye, honey. You think they was looking at you crazy before you got started. Don't buy that Benz. What you do with all that nonprofit money and all that. It's not about that. They forget about the time and the effort and the energy and the sleepless nights that you have. So I'm just putting this out there to you, brains. You know, consider where you are, what you're doing, and how you are going to sustain this, because it's holiday time. They're going to be looking for them baskets. Yes. We want people to win that have been incarcerated. We want these children to be able to have some stability in their life after being in foster care. We want women to be able to go out and hold their head high after drug abuse or prostitution. All of these things. And that is what Regina's program is offering, not only in California, but also down there in Louisiana. Now I get off my soapbox.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm enjoying it.
Because I want people to know.
The thing about it is we have self-funded. And in doing so, my family and I suffered tremendously. We've self-funded pretty much over the years. Now, we have had a few sponsors here and there, but for the most part, what people don't know, I took out my thrift savings plan money to do this. I took out, tapped into every resource that I had, every available resource that I had to do it. And against advisement, that because I did go and seek some financial advisement from someone, but I did it. But you know, the thing that I came to realize later is every seed that I've sown into it, God will give it back to me with interest. But I didn't start it for money. I started it because my heart's desire, I've always had a desire to help people, and to let people know. It's always been in me to just let people know it doesn't matter. You're a person. God is no respecter of person. If you're willing, if you're obedient, you can do. And even with that, it's more or less, I'll provide some assistance, or God's storehouse will provide some assistance, but in the process, allow us to help you by teaching you some things as well. You know, my life's experiences and other people's life's experiences, sharing them, not to put anyone down, but to help to lift you up, to build you up, so that a person can understand, come to realize that I'm worthy. God loves me. And when they start to love themselves, like Whitney Houston's song, learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. But I say God first, and then you love yourself, and nothing is impossible with you. I'll say this, and I'm going to leave it alone. My pastor said, shout out to Pastor Rodney E. Williams at King Solomon Baptist Church in Sibley, Louisiana. But he said something this past Sunday, and it's something that I've said many times in the past. When you teach a person, you live forever. That's right. Your legacy lives on. You don't die. You continue. And that's my thing. It's like, yes, I want to help you. I want to assist you by providing, or we want to assist you by providing the services that you need, but allow us to take it a step further, right. You know. And people have to be teachable, though. They have to be open and receptive to receiving it. So
what did the Bible say? You give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You teach him how to fish, he'll eat.
Come on.
And I'm hungry. Okay. And there's a lot of people out there hungry.
A lot
But
of people are hungry.
and it's to teach people self-esteem and to get them motivated. This is a lifelong process because they've been beat down.
Right.
As I was watching Dave Chappelle's special, punching down on people, you know, it's rough. And I say that to my sisters. We are not crabs in a barrel. There's plenty of room at the top for everybody.
Say that again.
I believe in a God of abundance. I really do. And I give free advice. I mentor. I give of my money. I give of my time. But please know, when it is my time, I'm going to claim all of it.
Come on.
Like Maxine Waters. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. Okay?
Yes.
To the end. Yes. So you are also a published author, accomplished author of 9 books. When do you have time to write? Oh my God.
You know what? Writing is something, it's amazing how that all came about. I always envisioned having a huge, expansive library, wall-to-wall library. I always envisioned that, but I never thought I would write a book. And then it's so funny. I said, God has a sense of humor, because when he told me that I would write a book, I was somewhat excited, and I'm like, okay. But then when he said, your journal is going to be the contents of your book's contents, I was like, oh no, it's not. There was a tug of war going on, because I thought, oh my God, I'm opening up my closet, airing my dirty laundry out to the whole world, So there was a war going on. But yeah, books have been a part of my life all my life. I've always loved reading, but having the time, when you're doing what you love, you find the time to do it. So you make the time, being very strategic, using SMART goals, measurable, making sure it's attainable, it's relevant, and time-based. Yes. So just doing those things.
And then, people will say, oh, who she thinks she is? She's got a book. Well, who do you think you are? You are Regina G. Mixon. And if you went in my mix, in my business, you'd have some time to do some stuff for yourself. So what is your inspiration? I mean, just, you don't just pull a rabbit out of a hat. What is your writing process? Where do you go inside your heart and your soul? And I know one book you went through your journal, but where else do you go? Do you find a nice quiet place, a coffee house? Do you pet your puppy while you're writing?
Inspiration comes at the strangest times. And there are a lot of times, sometimes I'll go to the libraries. Okay, that's my I got library cards everywhere, from everywhere. I'll go to the library sometimes. And then there are other times, it's amazing. I'll be riding, traveling or something, and thoughts would come to me. And so I pull over and do my voice recorder and all of that, and so that I don't forget the thoughts. And then I would go ahead and resume driving. And then there are a lot of times when in the middle of the night, it's just like, all these thoughts come. So
wake you up.
Wake you up.
I gotta keep a pad and a pen next, because I come up with some poetry, some crazy or show topics or questions I want to ask, and I got to do it then. Because if you go back to sleep, it's like you missed it.
Right, exactly. And do you ever have it where it seems at midnight that these things occur? When I've had it where I'm in bed, I've gotten, I've gone to bed, I'm just rested, I may not be asleep, but all these thoughts occur, and I have lost some. I'd be like, okay, Lord, because I didn't get up and even either record it or write it down. But I keep a pad and a pen in my bed and somewhere in my room at all times, and then on my person somewhere.
And inspiration comes from reading. Pick up a book, Brains.
It does. It does.
When is the last time? I'm gonna take a little poll here. Okay, I want everybody to raise their hand as they're watching this. What is the last book you read? Okay, and did you finish it? Because the last book I'm reading, I'm got like 25 pages, and I haven't finished it yet. But you have to make time to stimulate your brain.
You do.
to increase your vocabulary,
You do.
to gain inspiration, to get clarity and insight. Books are your best friend. They can take you all around the world without leaving the comfort of your home.
Yes. Yes.
There's so much, and I wish that children and parents would encourage their children to read more. But I'm gonna tell you something, during this pandemic, baby, you didn't have no choice, because these parents, they couldn't do any grammar. They didn't read to their children. They didn't understand the mathematics. Girl, the math was crazy. My little friend down the street, I said, no, let me call one of my big brain friends, because 1 + 1 was 2. Now all these different columns and all this, I don't understand all of that. I want to get to the nitty gritty. Mm-hmm. And with all of this online learning, they don't know how to spell. They Google everything. But teach your kids the basics, because you know what? It's about survival.
Exactly. I want to add and say this. My grandson wrote his, and I published his book, but he wrote his first book at age 7 in the second grade, Spy Kids and the Missing Skateboard. His mother and I both are very, very much about education. We're both very much about education. And I was happy. I was elated. I was over the moon yesterday when she sent me his report card. He's now 8th grade and he has all A's. I was like, yes. And he's in a charter school. So I was just, we have to, I say that to say that, when we invest the time, because it's an investment in our children are our future. We have to be their biggest everything. Cheerleaders, encouragers, motivators, teachers. We have to be there. Yeah, exactly. That too. But we have to be parents in the real sense, and so many people, some people aren't, because they don't know how to be, because a lot of parents themselves are not literate, and they didn't grow up in that environment, but there's no excuse for them to stay that way.
Absolutely.
And I applaud the people that do go back to school or do in some way or another start to realize that they too can learn that it is not, as long as there's breath in this body, it is not too late.
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
And the sense of accomplishment. I know a woman that learned how to read in her 70s.
Okay.
She could read a little bit, but she is, it's great. And come to find out, she was dyslexic. Okay. All this time. She didn't know. So it was a different style. There was a different way of her learning. It wasn't that she couldn't learn. Her brain just functioned a different way. And she needed to get with somebody that understood how to turn that switch on. So turn that switch on them books. Let me see some of your books and what you're doing there. Because they're all on Amazon, correct?
They're all on Amazon. All of the books are on Amazon. And I'll start with this first one. And I'm going to just put it up here. There's a glare. Okay, it's To God Be the Glory. This was the very first one. And in this book, this is where when God told me, he started sharing things with me, started speaking to me. And I bookmarked a page. It was October 26, 1998. It was while I was laying flat on my back after having surgery, that I realized that God does speak to people. And he spoke so clearly to me that day.
Read it to us. So Regina, you said God spoke to you and you wrote it down. Please give us some insight on what God had to say. Read us a little piece of a chapter.
Okay. October 26, 1990 was the day I will never forget. That was the actual day the Lord first spoke to me, and I knew it was him. Well, I didn't at first. I was lying in bed and I heard this voice so clearly say, with your mouth, you are willing and obedient, but you're also like a little kid who has been told to clean your room. It continues to say, you are pouting and not doing what I, the Lord, has said for you to do. I have told you to do some specific things and you have not done them yet. I almost fell out of my bed. I thought, am I losing my mind? And so this was this was part of the beginning, part of the beginning. But many things, God told me, He said, I'm going to allow a breaking to take place in your life to build you up. He also said to me that uh, I was going to go through some things, but I didn't know I was going to endure them for 20 years. For 20 years, I didn't know that the process would be a 20-year process, more or less.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
God
it's
speaks
longer.
to.
You ain't there, sister. If
I
you
ain't there yet.
keep, you ain't done yet. You're gonna
I
still
know.
go through it, but now you're gonna be able to reap the rewards.
Exactly.
You have shared so much with so many. Again, like I said, he fed 5,000 with one fish, the
Mhm.
multitude, and so you're going to do the same thing. And there's so much love and nurturing. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be for people by having faith in God, believing in God first and foremost, believing in themselves. Nothing, no thing is impossible. I want to, if I, if I, if it's a season of my planting that seed, or if it's a season of my watering that seed, I don't know what, regardless of what season I may enter into a person's life. I want to leave here knowing that number one, I've given out everything I had to give. And God says, well done, thy good and faithful servant. And number two, that I've left a lasting impact on lives and that they will continue for generations to come.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. That is great. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to purchase a copy of your books, and where to write a check.
Okay.
I don't have
Oh,
no problem. Really, I don't have no problem making the ask. They used to love me, honey, when I worked at the American Red Cross. They had
oh,
no idea. They would send me out to do a presentation on uh, disaster safety to the water district. I come
mhm.
back with a check that everybody in the building had to have an emergency backpack. And they was like, what? So
Wow.
it's money is energy. I'm gonna say it over and over and over again. It needs to be moved and recycled.
It
You
does.
have to live abundant life. If you live with your fist clenched, you cannot receive nor can you give. But this, you are living a fluid life. So write a check. I don't care if it's $20, $30. You don't realize what that could do. That could buy socks for a homeless person. That
Amen.
could buy a dinner for a family.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, and it might be able to contribute to the betterment of Regina because she's sacrificing. I don't care. When you give, you give. So where can they give, Regina?
Well, they can give to me personally at Cash App, Regina Mixon. They can give to God's Storehouse Ministries at Cash App, God's Storehouse Men. They can give via PayPal to God's Storehouse Ministries. They can write a check. Excuse me. They can write a check. God's Storehouse Ministry, send it via snail mail. P.O. Box 5397, Torrance, California, 90510. So we welcome the check, the money order, whatever. It does take money. And what we sow into another's life or the lives of others, we have to reap it. We reap a harvest. So I don't say to people, basically give, just give. I say invest in
That's right.
someone else's future, invest in, because you never know. You just said it so perfectly a few minutes ago.
And
You
you
just.
know what? Brains, you have no idea when you're going to be in need. Oh, believe and trust. Okay? You could be flying high today and the rug be pulled out from you tomorrow.
May I say something on that? One of the things with God's storehouse, as I may have mentioned earlier, but disaster can strike anyone at any time. I tell people, you don't put your faith in your job because the job may be gone. You
Mm.
don't put your faith in a house. You don't put your faith in the banks. Banks do close. Credit unions, they fold. You don't put your trust in anything but God. Now, for 30 plus years, almost 40 years, I worked for the federal government. But guess what? Things happen to me. A lot of things happen to me. And so I think, and I didn't know where a lot of times to go to get the help that was needed. Number one, I was shocked. I'm like, this can't be happening to me.
Right.
This, I was in denial. These things cannot be happening to me. But I go back to this. God said He was going to allow me to walk through the pains of so many people, to go through some things so that there's no going back. I can't go back to anything because I felt the pain so intensely. So I say, if it happened to me, excuse me, and I think I'm a somewhat intelligent person, I thought somewhat very resourceful, but it did. And it can happen to anyone.
Anybody.
Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes,
Sick,
sickness.
death,
Yes,
death of
death.
a spouse.
We are not immune to life's happenings. And I don't care how much of a well laid plan you have laid out. It doesn't matter. Things will come and knock, blow, cause you to just step back and go, oh my God, who in the hell left the gates open? Things will happen.
Mhm.
So, and it can. And if anyone thinks that it can't be you, I beg to differ with you.
Because again, God ain't got no favorites. We all
Mm-mm.
in His sight.
We are all equal. You can be riding high today, and before the day is over, everything you got is gone.
Everything you got is gone. Okay, Brains, but you're still here. You're not gone. And Regina's here, and I'm here, and we love you intensely. Okay, we want you to have the best that life has to offer. We want to provide you with information, but we also want to give our brothers and sisters a hand up and a hand out. Ain't nothing wrong with it, as long as you wash your hands. All right, Brains, thank you so much for being here with me and Regina on the Edge. Please go and subscribe to every single thing I got. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Go in and check out Regina's rebuilding her websites. It'll be up. The link will be there, all the information. Go check her out. Google her. Get a couple books, because that's also going to support in her efforts. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.